care.
You too. Bye.
Yeah. Alright. Hey, I want to say, hey. It was a different kind of show for a minute, but I heard okay.
Should have started.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their busy schedule to spend some time with us on Off the Record this evening. We have a very special couple that is very special, near and dear to me and to many other people as well. My sister Miriam and her husband, Brother Akeem. Please speak to everyone, please, for everybody.
Peace, everybody.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hey, okay, excellent, excellent. Now that we have a little technical difficulty, but it's all good. Now that we are here, we want to get straight to it with you all. You all have been married for how long?
Almost 8 years. It'll be 8 years in July.
Okay, excellent, excellent. It's been 8 years in July, and that's a great thing. My question to you, Akeem and to Mimi, who chose who first?
Well, I'm pretty sure she chose on me first.
Don't even try. Don't even try.
But it was definitely me, and I had some things working behind the scenes before she even knew.
Flying.
So yeah, by the time I made my move, she didn't know what hit her.
Okay, okay, that's a good thing. Now,
That's a Nova boy.
Now, Akeem, how long were you working on things before you made it public or made her aware of it?
It actually wasn't that long. I think it was the end of 2009. It was right around the time when Minister Sharif had started he started the marriage seminar or the marriage counseling seminar on Wednesdays, and I saw Mimi sitting in the audience, just like helping him out with the Twitter and the technical side. And when I saw her at the meeting, I was like, oh, I'll be at the meetings every Wednesday from now on.
Okay.
Maybe a month, 2 months before I kind of let her know my intentions, sort of. But yeah, prior to that, she had no idea.
Okay, excellent. Mimi, we come right to you. Hold on 1 second. Sister Curtisa says, Jan Rico Burden. I'm trying to pronounce that name, but thank you for watching. Walaikum salam. Sister Curtisa said, dang, I remember it. That wedding, it was that long ago. Sabir says macaroni. Rashad said it was the 3rd of September, the day I'll always remember.
Rashad, shut up.
Well, Mimi, how were you made aware that Akeem was interested in you?
Okay, so this is the first time I was like, oh, he's choosing, because I saw him. We were at the Wednesday night marriage thing, and the only reason that I came is because Mommy and Daddy asked me to do like live tweet the meeting for them. Okay. So I was there, and I was just live tweeting, polls and all of that to get engagement on Twitter. And I learned a lot by being there. So I was sitting next to his sister, who was like working on his behalf on the low. Camilla was definitely the wing woman, because she's like, so any brothers trying to court you? You ready to get married? You come? I'm like, I'm here just to tweet. I'm just
read from the script.
I'm just like, I'm here just to tweet. I'm not interested.
Okay.
I'm not in question. I'm just here, just to tweet. But I knew his family. I was really close to his mom. I was close to his family, and it's crazy because I never really even paid attention to Akeem. It was it's so crazy. Like, people think like, oh yeah, this love story. Yeah. Both were from the DC Mosque house. Like, we did not know each other. We knew each other's families, but outside of an occasional assalamu alaikum, Blake Slime, that's it. It was always in passing, never a conversation. So back to when I knew he was choosing, there was a brother at the Wednesday night meeting, and I don't know, mommy asked me to help serve the refreshments. So I was like pouring drinks, and there was a brother who was there, like, he came over trying to be slick. This old brother trying to holler, like, "Oh, sister soldier, you need to." I was like, "No, sorry, I got it, I'm good." Next thing you know, Keem just, came, like, stood over there, like, being all protective and whatnot, like, "You straight, you good, okay." And he just talked to me, so then we kind of just talked from then on out. Like, it was just a icebreaker, it was kind of like talking.
It's kind of organic.
Yeah, it's just like it was more like a friendship. It wasn't like he came over trying to mac. It was just conversation, because it was the proper setting for it. It was very casual. It wasn't, like a tense environment. So we just started talking casually. And then within a couple weeks, I had posted on Facebook, like, "Oh my God, Alicia Keys is coming to town. I gotta go see Alicia Keys." And so this is while the Wednesday night series is still going on. And so I think, did we have a conversation before?
Yeah. And so.
Yeah, we had spoken, but maybe it was like a week before I posted about the concert. We spoke on the phone, and that conversation was very intense because I wasn't about to waste my time. I'm not about to be sitting up here talking to you for no reason. Our families are connected. I didn't want it to be like, if it didn't, if it was weird, I didn't want it to be awkward. Like, oh, I still got to see this person that I talked to that was weird. So I'm like, okay, well, he's interested. Let me see how interested he really is. I started asking hard-hitted questions. Like, we're not talking about what color do you like. I don't care. I don't care. So are you trying to be responsible? You trying to get married? How many children do you want? Oh, how do you want your children raised? Because I literally was trying to scare him away. Like, if you're not being serious, then those questions, they'll scare a man who isn't ready or isn't serious away when you asking him, how many children do you want? How do you want your children to be reared? Oh, where do you work? How long have you been working there? Like, I'm courting him, like taking him to task, and he answer for every question. What? But what stood out with that first conversation was that he never mentioned, like, the prevailing thing in my life prior to Akeem was with a lot of FOI. If they would be interested in me, they would try to come to me directly and just say something like, "Oh, your father ain't never gonna let you court. Beautiful sister, your father ain't never gonna let you court. Always saying something about my father, which is letting me know that they're not the one for me. They weren't. If you're not man enough to approach my father about me, you're not the one for me. So you can keep it moving." But within that conversation, he never mentioned my father. Not in that way, more like if we were referencing how we were reared, because we talked about the similarities in our childhood, the differences, those type of things. So he never mentioned it in a way like, "Oh, I'm nervous," or whatever. So fast forward to a week, it was literally like a week after that first conversation. I posted that on Facebook about the concert, and then when the next Wednesday night.
So I saw the little post that she put. Like, "Oh, Alicia Keys is coming to town. Who wants to go with me or whatever?" I was like,
He didn't say no who wants to go.
No, that's what you.
No, I'm saying it didn't say who wants to go.
It was
like,
something.
I'm about.
Oh, so maybe it's being a little sweet.
I was saying, "Oh my God, Alicia Keys is out, and I'm about to go. Like, I'm going. I want to go." It was like to the thing.
Yeah, maybe that's how I took it.
That's how he took it.
I was like, "Oh, count me in," And as soon as she replied back, like, "Okay," I went and bought both the tickets.
I thought he was joking. I didn't think that he was, going to buy concert tickets to see Alicia Keys when we literally talked maybe twice on the phone. So I was like, okay, wow, okay, that was great. And then I was like, okay, I want to see how this gonna play out. So I didn't say nothing. I ain't mention it. So how you talk to my dad.
Yeah, so before I took her out, I knew that I wasn't going to be, I didn't want to be disrespectful. I knew what my intentions were, but when you do certain things like that, it can be perceived in a certain type of way. People feel like, oh, he's just trying to, he's trying to get in through the back door, or whatever. So I intended to make all of my intentions known, especially to her father, because I wanted his respect and I wanted his approval. So, I I think I caught him one day, either maybe at the house, or I can't even remember where it was, because she said I wasn't nervous. I'm going to go talk to her father. I was definitely nervous. Okay. So, but I tried not to show it. I told him, I just asked him, I was like, is it okay if I take your daughter to a concert? And so it started with just that. He was like, no problem, soldier. I've watched you and I respect you. I appreciate you coming to me. Man, it was like sitting down a load of bricks, because I thought he was going to hit me with the Supreme Captain attitude. But, I had already, me and Dad, we had already interacted with each other. So it wasn't like he didn't know me, and even said that. He was like, I know you since you was a little boy. I know your family. So again, that was another thing that was just organic. As nervous as I was because of the task at hand, I've always felt like he was a person who I could just talk to. So it wasn't difficult. And then I knew,
great.
she was working. So
hey, Naima says she was choosing back. Rashad says so he tried to play protector man. Okay, excellent. And Naima says, okay, now next is so after that one date, then what transpired? How quick after that date was it, like engagement to marriage? Like what was the timeline?
So we courted for a little over a year, maybe a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
A year and a half we were in courtship, which is by the standards of the nation, it's a little long, but
I don't regret it.
I personally feel like it was a perfect amount of time.
Yeah.
We got to have a lot of conversations. We spent a lot of time with each other's families, so we knew what we were getting into. You know what I mean? So we started courting. What was that, February of 2010?
That's when we got engaged.
Oh snap!
Yeah, but we were courting from, it was 2000.
So
2009.
Yeah, that was 08.
It was 2009 to 2010-ish when we recorded. We got married in 2011. He proposed February 20th of 2011, and we got married in July of that year. And it was so funny because his family that's lost found, some of them was like, "Is she pregnant? Was they rushing to get married for?"
Right.
And then you have the believers like, they courting long, so it's like you can't please everybody. But we did what we needed to do, and I felt absolutely no pressure. I did not care. It's the most important, marriage is one of the most important decisions you can make, and I wanted to take my time, and he wanted to take his time. We had goals. I was in school at the time, working on my master's, so it was just things that we were working on individually, and things that we needed to accomplish together first before we got married. And our timeline, for us, it was perfect.
Okay, excellent. And that's a great, beautiful story. Naima says courtship manual says 3 to 6 months. Rashad said, damn.
So I was rebellious, okay? 3 to 6 months.
Aisha says that all he proposed on my birthday.
Hey.
And Sabir says 09 Soldier Boy voice. Wow. Okay, so when did you all know that this was the one that you were dealing with?
Man,
You want to
that's
go
a hard
first?
question. No,
Okay,
you
I'll
go
go first.
first.
I'm gonna tell you.
Okay,
So,
you must say.
oh yeah, I'm gonna because that's when I knew. So, um, I don't know the circumstances or the timeline, but I had a book bag stolen from me at Savior's Day, and yeah, I know, crazy, right? So it was a book bag. It had all of my study material. It had a Quran. It had, just Muslim FOI starter pack. Okay, that's what this was. It's all my stuff in there. But the biggest thing for me was the Supreme Wisdom. It was the only one I had. Like I could read the other books and stuff, but it was difficult to get one. And it was one night. I was bringing Mimi back from school or something like that, and I had told her about it. And I told her, I was like, "Dang, it's so crazy. I've been trying to find one. No one has a Supreme Wisdom." And she gave me a Supreme Wisdom, and it probably she could have had 3 of them. I don't know, but it felt like to find somebody that's actually been listening to you and understand your, what's really bothering you, and to try to work to alleviate those things. I don't know. For me, that's big. People listen to you and say, "Oh, I'm sorry," or whatever. But and again, like I said, she could have had 3 of them. She was like, "Oh, it's just an extra one or whatever."
I didn't have
But
to
for
work
me,
hard to find that
yeah,
stupid-
right. But for me, I was like, "Oh man, I'm in love." She just gave me a Supreme Wisdom.
Okay, good. Okay.
It was that of
So
many things,
cheesy, right?
but I'm telling you, for me, that's when it was. Word is bond.
Okay, excellent. Mimi, what was it for you?
Okay, it could be a couple things, but I'll tell this one. So this one's kind of funny, but I knew that I was going to take him seriously after this because I knew he was. I was like, oh, he's really interested. So I'm a mental health therapist, and at the time I was, like I said, pursuing my master's, and so I took a group therapy class, and for that class, was that my group therapy class? I can't remember. I think it's for my group therapy class. I had to go to psychiatric hospital, and I had to sit through a couple of, had to go basically like to an AA meeting
There we go.
as a member. Like I had to go and immerse myself in the process, not to facilitate or anything. And so I was telling him like, oh, I'm about to go to this particular hospital to experience this. I was really excited about it. And I was like, I need a ride. Like, I need a ride. And he was like, okay, I'll take you. He was like, I'll go with you. And I'm like, okay, you're gonna give me a ride? That's cool. Thank you. He was like, no, I'll go with you to the meeting. I'm like, you're gonna go to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting with me for my school assignment.
This was our first official date.
And whenever people say like, how did you all meet? Because the meeting was like the day meeting before the concert. He always tells people we met at NA or AA meeting. I'm like, can you please stop doing that? Like, stop. But yeah, I was like, oh, okay, so he's really like making these sacrifices to be uncomfortable, go into these uncomfortable situations just to spend time with me. And I thought that was really sweet. But later on, further down, when I knew like things were getting like serious, where it's like, okay, I was sick, I wasn't feeling well, I had like the flu or something. And I told like Akeem would come to see me basically every day. He worked, he had responsibilities, within his family. He, is really generous. He's the oldest sibling. So, he would provide rides for family. He had duties at the mosque and stuff like that. But he would make sure that he saw me every day. And I told him, like, you don't have to do that. I appreciate it. You don't have to come like see me every day. He made sure that he would come see me, even if he was just dropping off food, coming to just be like, hey, assalamualaikum, I'm headed here. He would just come see me. And that just made me feel so special. I was like, oh, he would just come out of his way to just visit me like every single day. And so when I was sick, I told him like, I don't feel like company. I'm not feeling well. We could just talk. I'll, see you when I feel better. And he was like, no, I want to come see you. I'm like, please, like, do not come see me. Like, I look a mess. I know.
She was 6.
I was like, I don't feel well. Like, please, like, you don't understand. Like, I'm pale, hair all over my head. You just don't care. And I'm like, okay. So he finally was like, okay, I'm not gonna come see you. So at the time I was living with my parents and my grandmother was living with us in our family home. And they love Akeem. They don't listen to anything I say. I had a feeling that he was going to try to come over. I'm like, look, y'all, while I'm sick, Akeem is not to be allowed over here, okay? So not let him come over here. So they're like, girl, whatever. Okay. They all said, okay, whatever. Like, I'm thinking they're going to respect my wishes. I looked up one day. I'm talking about, I look a mess, like crazy mess. Like, I'm sick of a crazy mess. Here he come walking through the door. I'm like, oh my God, like, get out, like, go away. He's like, I'm gonna be with you for the rest of your life. I'm gonna see you in worse.
Oh.
So if I can't see you when you're sick, what is that? And I'm like, oh, like I guess you're right. But he was not playing it. He was gonna see me every day, and I just appreciate that and love that about him. Like he made time for me, no matter what. Even if I was like, you don't have to, please don't. He still would make sure that he came by the house.
Well, thank you, Akeem, for making it hard for the rest of us out here. Thank you for making it hard. Okay, Naeem says, all praises to Allah. Aisha says, is it true a man knows sooner than later if he wants to marry a woman?
Is it true a man knows sooner? I think so. I think that and I'm just from my own experience, I knew when me and Mimi first started talking. I mean, just to be honest, like I knew who she was. Just you can have a conversation with a person and see a glimpse of their mind, just a little bit of insight. And just having a couple of conversations with her, I knew where she was, and I was very attracted to her. So I already knew. I was like, oh, you're the person I've been looking for forever. You know what I mean? So it was just at that point, it's like, we just build it at that point. We the year I didn't need it, to be honest with you. I mean, we needed it to just prepare, you know what I mean? But not for me to know. It's like it didn't take me a year and a half to know that, oh, this is the person I want to speak. I knew immediately. She probably had to test me and try me with a couple of little things, but I already knew. I was like, nah, this is the woman I'm gonna be with for the rest of my life.
That's beautiful. Okay, well, we'll start with you, Mimi. What has been the biggest trial that you all have been through, and how did you overcome it?
We've had our fair share of trials. Of course, when you're striving to become one, there are going to be trials put your way right away. And when people ask me, younger couples or people who are just getting married, like my advice, I'm like, I don't have any advice, but I will tell you this: like, you ask a lot, you try him, you say that you want to be one, you say that you want to be married, he's going to try you, and that's sooner rather than later. Because I got married, I'm thinking like, oh my God, the trials come later, like that stuff that happens like later down the line. They come soon because they come for us. They came, right away. We would try with different things, and it only brought us closer. But the biggest trial for me, I would have to say, was my transition into motherhood, because we waited. We knew we wanted to wait to have a child. We knew that we wanted to give ourselves time to travel. We wanted to just spoil each other first before that energy had to shift to a child. And I'm so thankful that we did that, because now we're able to just give, focus on parenthood without resenting. I don't resent our son. I don't feel like he took anything away from us, because we waited about 3 years.
Yeah.
So we had time to do those things that we wanted to do, travel and all that. So I would say that the transition into motherhood was tough, because we were like a spontaneous couple. Like we're always, I'm sorry if y'all hear our son in the background. But anyway, so I would say it was difficult because we were a spontaneous couple. Like we on a Wednesday, we might be like, let's go to Dave and Buster's. Like, let's do this. Like we just always love to have fun, and we still do love to have fun. But now, post having a baby, we have to schedule it. Like, okay, we got to get a babysitter, and this is coming to town, so we want to do this. Like, is it on your calendar? Okay, it's on my calendar. We got to get these tickets in advance. It's not so much like, oh, it's Tuesday. Oh, let's go to a restaurant. Let's go skating. It's like you have to plan it more. And so the biggest trial was just adjusting to that. And then actually that hit me when I was expecting, because I wasn't feeling well. I was really sick, and it wasn't just the first trimester for me. It's pretty much the whole 9 months I was sick. And so I felt like, oh my God, being I'm not able to be there for my best friend, my husband. Like, we're not going nowhere. I don't want to go nowhere. I get motion sickness. I was not pleasant, and I know that. And I kept being like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I get motion sickness, and I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to go to a restaurant because the smell is gonna make me nauseous. Everything's gonna make me nauseous. Everything's gonna get on my nerves. So I just was like, I'm sorry. But he was like, it's okay. I love you. Like, he made me feel just like the most beautiful person. I know I looked like Shrek when I was pregnant. I know, I know that it was just like it was, I think, a trial for our marriage, because it was more so, I felt like the focus was just on going to doctor's appointments, staying positive and just focusing on the baby. And it was like our date nights, there was none of that. Like, we cut those out because I wasn't feeling well. I didn't feel like it. So I feel like that was a huge trial and transition. And now we figured out how to balance it once, our son got here. I have no problem. I think a lot for our village, our family. Uncle Josh is always clutch. Auntie Nana, mom, like our parents, everybody, who watches Moms for us. We only trust our family pretty much to watch him. Um, so we can't go to a movie or go out, and we're blessed to be able to do that. We just have to, we schedule it now. We make sure we have date night at least once a month, and stuff like that. So yeah, that was the biggest trial for me. Just like, oh my God, I was panicking. Like, is this what being a mom is gonna be like? I'm not gonna be able to have fun anymore. So I think that was like a big trial for me.
Yeah, I think it was it's the same time period. It was just a big change, you know, uh, because she was pregnant our third year of marriage. We had Maz right at the 4 year marker. And so, you know, for that time when she got pregnant, all the way maybe until Maz was like a few months old, that's how it was. You know, it was everything shifted and was about him. You know what I mean? And so I think as a man, you struggle probably within yourself a little bit. Um, if you have a person like my wife did and still does everything. You know what I mean? And on top of the spontaneous, you know what, let's just go and go out, or let's just go eat, or little stuff like that. You can't do that stuff when, you know, your better half is you just don't feel like it. You know what I'm saying? Or we got the little one, and it's gonna be a whole family trip, you know what I'm saying? And we missing movies because either he gonna scream in the movie theater or she gonna have to keep getting up with him. So it's just that whole dynamic, that change it was just that. It was just a change. And so it just takes some just like a mental adjustment. You know what I mean? Understanding that number one, it's what you signed up for. Um, two, that the person that you're committed to, that person hasn't gone anywhere. We just added a life, and that's where the initial bulk of the energy has to be directed. And knowing that that person is still there, and that all we got to do is just change the way we move, and we can still, have our fun, do the things that we love to do, the things that brought us together, the things that we enjoyed, before. So um, I would definitely say that probably was, one of the biggest trials that we faced, just that transition period. Uh, but I think that, now that past that, and he's running around talking about Ben 10 and soccer and swimming and all that stuff. It's just, you see, cliche, right? The fruits of your labor. And we poured a lot of love and a lot of energy into him. And she still does. I mean, she's here with him during the day, I mean, just making this little guy into a god, and I can't thank her enough for that. You know, and I think I thank God for the person who she is and the person that she is making my son, because
Oh.
that's invaluable.
And I'm thankful to my husband for being a provider so that I can do that. He works very hard so that I can stay home with our son. And that's something that we talked about before we even got married. Okay, so what is your expectation of me, with with our future children? At the time, we wanted a lot. Now, not so much. But we were like, what? How do you want them to be raised? Are you gonna be able to afford for me to stay home with them? Do you want me to work outside the home? And he always said, "It's your choice." And so I was like, "Oh, look at you!"
Yeah.
And so, he's since Miles has been here, I've been able to do what I wanted to do and what we wanted, and what we wanted was for me to stay home. And I have projects, I work on things but home is like where I work from. I work from home. I love teaching our sons, and that's just what we do. And I'm grateful that he sees the value in that, and he has me comfortable so that I can do that while he works. So.
Okay,
Oh,
excellent.
and just not to have it like, oh, our child was a sad. No, it was just a rough, transition pregnancy wise. But he was born in May, and our anniversary is in July. And so Akeem took me. He was 2 months. I didn't want to leave him, but I left him with mommy and Naima. Um, they watched him for us while we went to a concert. So it like came full circle. We love concerts, so we always go to concerts. So it was like, okay, look, he said he's really young, and Akeem was like, he's gonna be fine. He's with your mother. Do not call her. She knows what she's doing. Do not harass them. When I was at the concert, I was having a good time, and I would like sneak my phone, like, is he okay? Is he doing all right? But
Yeah.
now I'm like, bye, like y'all can come get him, like go, go, go. So to the moms out there and to the dads, to the couples, like make sure you schedule date night. It's so important. I don't care if what like make sure your children are safe and secure, but if you have to send some here and some there with people that you trust, make sure that you make time, because if we're not good, our son is not good. And the priority for us is peace in our home. And so when everything's good, we're happy, we're doing the things that make us happy, then our son, we put that in our son, that energy is in our home, and he's good. And we're, as a family, we're good. So make sure that you're doing those same things that you did in the beginning, or the things, whatever excites you or makes you happy now, whatever you like to do for fun. Continue to make time for those things. You might not be able to do it as much, but schedule it, do whatever you have to do to don't neglect yourself and don't neglect your marriage.
Excellent. Okay, Rashad says Mimi knew since she saw him drilling in that big coat in '96. That's when she knew.
Rashad roasted.
Uncle Chip says love you. I mean, Uncle Jamil says love my family, so proud, love you more.
Love you too.
Naima says I bear witness to the motion sickness. Rashad says, girl, now we see you.
Yes,
Aisha says, oh, she said you answered the question. What do you do to keep your family relationship going? Thank you, Brother Charles. Thank you very much, Brother Charles L, for being on deck from Dallas, Texas. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, what has been the how did you all blend the families? When you have a big family, the other person big family, were y'all worried about that? About families' opinions and things of that nature?
I was not worried at all. And I was so thankful that he has a family, because you always hear about monster-in-law. Like I said, I was close with his family, especially his mom and his sisters, seeing them at the mosque and PCs, and just knowing her, seeing me grow up from DC. I always would seek Sister Zanya out at Savior's Day. And it's so funny because she would always say, and it was just like, like, I don't know, I just never paid it any mind. She was like, did you see a king? Have you seen a king? Like, she was just making stuff. And I'd be like, oh, no, ma'am, I didn't see him, then we would just go on talking about something else. So she would like, tease or like throw it out there. But she says ever since we were little children in the mosque in DC, since we were babies, that she knew that we were going to get married. She wanted us to be married. So it was I never felt anything but love. They would have Sunday dinners at their house when we were recording. So every Sunday I would go over to their house and for dinner, and like his siblings would be there. We would be doing karaoke, playing games. Like it was like a weekly thing, and I got to like really be around his family to see how they interacted, to just see. And I never once felt awkward. I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna be so like his whole family gonna be looking like, who is this girl? They might have felt like that. Didn't show me anything but love, and so he was, like I said, he was stalking me, come to my house every day to see me.
Yeah, I mean, I
And
felt.
so my
way.
family was obsessed with Akeem, and grandma used to call Akeem. Man, allow me to please her. She would call Akeem at work and be like, "Oh, I need Akeem to fix my TV." Akeem's very like handy; he can fix basically anything. And she would be calling Akeem. She was like, "Can my TV won't turn?" I'm like, "Grandma, you just need to hit the power button. Like, come on." Like, I got a vacuum. I need Akeem to fix. She loved just talking to Akeem. My family, we have taco nights or just like playing cards. My mom is always trying to do something festive anyway. She loved Akeem. My dad never gave me any smoke about Akeem. That's the first time ever that, he's crazy. He kind of takes people through the ringer. He didn't really give me, I could tell that he approved of Akeem. He was kind of monitoring how things went, but he never, did anything. Like in the past, some situations I could tell, like, oh, he don't like this person. Like he's gonna make it very difficult. But with Akeem, it was never like that. I knew that, I guess because they saw him grow up, they soldier with his family. His father is a dope buster. His mom, and my mom was insane. Like I said, NGT class and DC and Vanguard class. So our families were already, there was already love there. And so it was just a matter of,
and years and years and years of history.
Yeah, they had history. So it was just a matter of uniting.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Brother Charles, for the love, and I really appreciate that. Aisha says, I agree that first date without the baby is nerve-wracking. She called her moms 5 times, like 5 times. Brother Khalib, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, sir, says he saw all three of us grow up. Thank you very much, sir. And Aaliyah, Still I Rise, Brother Alfonso's daughter, says that you all were meant to be together, born to love one another. Excellent.
Thank you. I like to think that.
And Naima said Grandma claimed Akeem first.
Yes, Akeem, Grandma's boo forever.
That's my boo.
Sabir said that DC Love Connection. Thank you for that, Sabir. Okay, boom. Excellent. What has been the biggest joy of you all being married?
Oh, man. Just having, I would say for me, just having somebody to go through life with and not having any regrets. I have no regrets in the man that I chose and the man that I married. No matter, even when, like I said, when we going through trials, it's us against the problem, not this problem can conquer us. We know that we're gonna get through it, whatever it is, we're gonna get through it together. And so I would say the biggest joy is just experiencing life with somebody that I love and want to grow with, and just having somebody who gets me, whether it's our inside jokes, just, we're always coming to the table with our plans and our goals, what are our ideas? Okay, how are we gonna make this work? Let's do this. Okay, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And just not to sound cliche about communication, but I am a therapist, so I'm always trying to process things, and that probably was very annoying for Akeem in the beginning, because like just learning how to communicate, I had to learn, when something happens and I want to talk about, I need to wait. I need to give him time to process, and then we can talk about it. And now, we're always in a constant state of assessing and reassessing the relationship. Okay, so what's my grade for being a wife? How am I doing? What can I do better? You know what I mean? How can I make you happy? And Akeem's like, what can I do? How can I make you happy? And just taking that feedback and, implementing those things. And it's like, okay, I encourage, I encourage all couples to just kind of assess you grow, you change, and you don't have to grow apart. You can do that together by just simply talking to each other. Okay, so how are you feeling? And the main thing is, how can I be a better wife to you? How can you, husbands, ask your wives, how can I be a better husband to you, and be willing to accept that feedback? And I feel like that's just been the greatest joy, just, having somebody who makes me happy and wants to make me happier, and having somebody that just makes me happy and I want to make him happier and stuff. So, and just having fun with our son, just having fun as a family. So
I was about to say that I think as a family, like I love what I do as far as work and all that stuff, but I'm so happy when I'm home with my family. My son running around playing something or trying to get me up to do something, or we're all just sitting on the couch. Like I really like her. You know what I mean? And it's
like you
so
said.
so it's a difference. Like when you love someone, that duty, that obligation is driven by that. But when when you really like someone, like you laugh together and you make jokes with each other and stuff like that. So, I mean, for me, I'm simple. You know what I'm saying? This may seem like small things, but just being happy with a person, like that's my joy. You know what I mean? Just being like just in a state of happiness. If that makes any sense. And just being with my family. I couldn't be happier than when I'm with my family.
That's a great thing. Thank you. Rashad says, "Who's going to have the birds and bees combo with Miles first? Because if y'all don't, he will."
Mine's 4. Just be quiet.
So
That
there
it
to
won't
answer
be
your
Uncle
question.
Johnny. That's who it won't be.
Okay. How do you all know which advice to take from friends? Like, how do you know like this? We should listen to this person's advice or this person's counsel or something like that.
I don't personally, I really don't I don't seek out advice, but I do learn from people's examples. I'm inspired by certain couples, and I learned, some of my friends have been in relationships way longer than we've been together. They've been together forever, and I see the things that they do, and I'm like, oh, I can be inspired by couples. The couples that you've had on this show, I've learned so much from every interview. We watch them together. If he's at the station, he's at work, I'll send him the link, like, hey, after, and then we'll talk about it. Like, I love to learn from other couples. As far as seeking out advice, you got to be very careful with that. I don't often seek out advice, not to be spooky. We pray on things together, we process things together. Um, that's pretty much.
I think that what kind of because I'm the same way. I can I don't take. I mean, I've never. I don't think I've ever asked any advice from any of my friends. I try to, like she said, I try to go off with the example, see what works. You know what I'm saying? Try to see. Oh man, that's a pitfall I don't ever even want to come close to. By watching other people's relationships with their spouses. Um, I do have a few friends who were married. Most of them were married after us, which is so weird. We've been married for 8 years. Um, but I mean, we watch our parents. You know what I mean? We take the good from it. We understand. You know where people make mistakes, and we see the things that they do that water their marriage. And then I think the most important thing is that we keep communication open. Um, when you communicate with each other, it's just like what she said earlier about uh, listening to each other about what what can I do to make this better? What can I do to continue to make you happy? Am I doing everything? You know what I mean? And taking that same attitude and approach to any issue that may come up between us. You know what I mean? It's like not being too too prideful,
Absolutely.
you know.
And another thing is, I like to YouTube. I love YouTube, listening to the ministers' lectures, listening to different things. And so if there is an issue or something that comes up, you can't argue with the teacher. So if Akeem's like, well, actually, this, then I'm like, actually, okay, like I guess I gotta, okay, you gotta submit to it. And so the same thing, if I'm like, well, actually, the minister said, then it's like, oh, okay. Well, it says here, then it's like, you can't argue with that. You can't argue with that. And that's our foundation is the teaching. So we always have that to go fall back on. And prior to us getting married, I asked him because, like I said, I am a therapist. I asked him what is his view on counseling, what is his view on Dianetics. And so he had the right answers. He's all for it. I asked him what his view on couples counseling. Would he consider going to couples counseling if we ever felt like there was an issue that we couldn't process together and we need help? There's nothing wrong with getting outside help. There's nothing wrong with getting, some people do spiritual counseling. Some people go to mentors. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that for me, if we're having a marriage issue, then uh, therapy is definitely something that we would look into.
And on the simplest
consider.
level, I think it just boils down to being 100% committed.
Yeah.
If you're 100% committed to something, an idea or person, there's nothing that's going to get in the way of that. So of course I'll do this. Of course I'll do that because I'm committed to make this work. So it's 100% commitment. And I mean, once that's the goal, as simple as that sounds, there's nothing that you're going to do to intentionally damage that commitment. And there's nothing that you're going to allow to stand in the way of meeting, that commitment to completion 100%. I'm committed to her.
And
So
I'm
there's
committed to you.
there's nothing that's going to stop or get in the way of that. You know what I mean?
Excellent. Rashad says, go ahead, brother Minister Akeem. Sister Leah says, yes, YouTube. Naima says, teach. What
That's a troll.
advice, this is for Mimi. What advice would you give to future mothers?
Okay, for future mothers, I would say make sure that you take time for yourself. Most mothers are going to read the books. They're going to, in the nation, they're going to watch How to Give Birth to a God. They're going to prepare themselves. And if you're not, please do those things. Prepare yourself before you even get pregnant. But if you are expecting, read to the baby, do all of those things. But my biggest thing is if you are in a committed relationship, if you're married and you're expecting, don't lose sight of yourself. If you have friends, most of the time, it's the baby shower. Everything becomes about the baby. And it's like, don't neglect yourself. Write down some goals, some things that you want to do. They could be super basic, small things. Just make sure that you make time for yourself. Even if it's in 10 minutes while you're pumping, journal, right? What you're thankful for. Make time, like if it's having coffee before the baby wakes up and while the baby's napping, whatever is something that makes you happy, make sure you do it and make time for you, because before you were a mom, you were a queen. You need to nurture that queen who is still inside before you become a mother. So my advice is, self-care is such a buzzword, but it's something that you have to define for yourself. And we all need to, take time and care for ourselves in order for our families to be okay. So I would say for all the moms out there, strive to do something that makes you happy on a daily basis, weekly basis, however you can get that time in. And husbands, I know this wasn't part of the question, help your wife do those things. When mine was younger, and for me, I like to have my nails done. I like to get pedicures. Sometimes those first few months, you not even thinking about that. You just try to keep this new baby alive, and you're just in this space. My husband would be like, I'll stay in the car with mine. Go ahead, go in there. I'll take you, go in the nail shop. and I would be like, you gonna keep the baby father? He's like, I got him. Go in there. So sometimes you need to watch the children. It could be free. Take them to the park. Let your wife have some time to herself in the house. Make sure that
Who's gonna take my part?
you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm saying, and Akeem, I want to thank you for Akeem. I wanted to thank you for that because I saw Mimi's, the back of that neck. So I'm glad that you encouraged her to go get her hair done when she had baby mods and all that kind of stuff. That's right, Mimi. Keep your
My
hair
hair
done,
was done. I kept my hair done. Thank you, my friend.
Keep your nails done. You keep your nails.
Shout out to Jock, who is doing my hair now. It's crazy.
Hey, Jock, the best voice vocal coach in the world. Okay, so Akeem, your question, advice to future fathers, bro. Put us on.
She started down that path, man. I think the biggest thing you could do as a future father is to support your wife, who is the mother, right? So if my son, I know that my son loves me, but I know that it's because the person who is with him all day puts love in him for me. Like, he's 4 years old, he still runs to the door. And children do that, right? I guess. But he's always, seeking my attention. And I know it's out of love that she put in him. And that wouldn't be possible. She wouldn't been able to put genuine love in my son if I wasn't trying to nurture her to make her even want to put that love into him. So that's the first thing, is to make sure that the mother is well taken care of. Just that she doesn't, that you gotta meet all her needs, right? And you damn near better meet all her once too. You gotta keep her happy, man.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
I'm just saying.
But
the thing is, so the caveat to that is that if you chose a good one, she's not gonna be that stressful person that wants more than what you can provide for her. You understand what I'm saying? And it's just one person who knows the reality,
and she'll be striving to make you happy as well, Joshua.
Exactly.
That's right. Go ahead. Come on.
Josh over there like, oh my God.
And that's because she will understand the load that's on you as well. Because it definitely shifts. The things that she was more than willing and able and happy to do while she was pregnant, that took a dip, and it was a natural thing. So you gotta step up. Sometimes you gotta step in there and cook some meals. You gotta wash the clothes. You gotta make sure that the house is together, because she is doing the greatest work that any person could ever do, creating another life. You know what I mean? So again, that's the first part. It's a big part. That's like number 1, 2, and 3. Okay, out of 5. So the next thing, and I think it's important. It's right up under that, is just making sure that you're in constant communication and that you are there for your seed. Like, you gotta be there. You know what I mean? It's one thing provide money, but he don't care how many toys I buy him. You know what I mean? He would just as easily be okay pretending that he has something and we're playing together. That the time that we spend together is more valuable than any money that you can provide for your son or daughter in the future. So you gotta be there. You gotta be present. You gotta show up. You gotta show up to the swim classes. That's where we were today. You gotta show up to the baseball game. He's 4 years old. He's gonna be a T-ball. You know what I mean? He probably won't even remember some of this stuff, but you gotta be there.
He will remember.
He probably won't. I don't remember a lot of stuff, but I was a coach to his soccer league. It's his soccer team last year. He was 3 years old. You gotta be there for those moments, because he still talks about that now. He doesn't talk about the toy that I bought him last month. He'll talk about stuff that we did last year. He'll talk about trips that we took. He'll talk about the road trip. Are we going to Florida? He'll talk about those things. It's just the time that we spend, the songs we sing together, the books that we read. You got to be there for for your child. I mean, I think that within that is all encompassing, but I think that if I had to sum it up, you gotta be there. More importantly than the money, you can be broke and be there. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely. And great responses. And thank you all for watching today. And I want to make sure that I know announce this podcast is brought to you by ABC I Love Me, Mimi's book on Amazon, Politically Oppressed, Rashad's t-shirts. If y'all working out, if y'all need some, my second book, Cleopatra, get on Amazon. And thank you for everyone who's watching. Aaliyah says the memories stick, got to make them count. Excellent. Okay. Last question. We don't want to hold you all over time. You all have met the Most Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, and he gave you all some words or some kind of encouragement. How was that like meeting him, and how has that impacted you all on relationship?
man, it's a phenomenal to meet the minister. Just start there. It's amazing. Met him a few times. I'm pretty sure you all have met him more than that. So I'm thankful and humbled just for the experience to be in his presence. But then to meet him as a family when I know that you all and he watched you all grow up, you know what I mean? And then for him to see me and in so many words give me his approval, it meant a lot to me. He looked at me and told me when he saw Mimi, he saw my son, he looked at me and told me to, what do you say, keep this together. So as simple as that is, it goes back to what I was saying about commitment. You know what I mean? That's an instruction. That's the minister told me what to do. Yes, sir. Absolutely. You know, and I'm just thankful that he's more than anything, he's been just a representation of what to be like. Again, Mimi referenced the videos where he could just touch on a subject in one of his lectures that heal everything.
Mhm.
You know, just one line, or he'll spend 5 minutes talking about something out of a 2-3 hour lecture, and it could be so packed with just jewels to help a person get through so many trials. So building off of that and then actually meeting him, I mean, it's been impactful. The just the experience of meeting him, but I think even more impactful than that has just been the guidance that he's given us. Not even face to face, just us watching him, just watching his example and listening to his words over the years.
Excellent. Mimi?
Oh, wow. It's always an honor and a privilege to be in the presence of the man of God. I thank him for his example, him and Mother Khadijah, their example, their sacrifice, their love. And if it wasn't for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan standing up and rebuilding the nation, there would be no me and Akeem. Our parents would not have accepted Islam and accepted to help rebuild the nation. And we wouldn't be born, we wouldn't know each other, there would be no us. Our parents are both met in the mosque, both believing Muslims, whatever. We were raised in this. So I'm so thankful whenever I'm able to be in the minister's presence. And it's so funny because people think like, oh, you always get to be. I never take it for granted. I never take being around the minister for granted. And this last visit, he was here in Atlanta. My son, we were able to, what was that? It wasn't Holy Day. It was Family Summit. We were able to meet the minister and let him see my son. Mine wasn't even talking yet. He was really young then, and I think it was Family Summit. But the last time the minister was here in Atlanta a few weeks ago, we were blessed for my son to be able to greet the minister and give him a hug. And mine was just so excited. Like he just keeps
Have a
talking
conversation with him.
I talked to Minister Farrakhan. It's like that's just beautiful, and then we have pictures so that when he gets older, we'll be able to show him like you met Jesus, like you met him,
Yeah.
That's huge, and we thank him for his time, his guidance, his love. And one thing that he said this last time that just, was humbling and was an honor when he said a good man for a good woman. And I was like, oh my God, I'm princess too. Like I'm trying. And so it was just, beautiful to witness that and be able to, for our son to be in his presence because he knows the minister's voice. He, has heard it in the womb. He's born for this, he knows. And so for him to be able to greet the minister, that was just amazing.
Excellent. Okay, well, one more question. What advice, Mimi, would you give to future wives?
That's it. Okay. I would say be patient. Be patient. Don't be don't be so thirsty to want to be married or so feeling like you're so lonely or living up to other people's timelines of when you need to be married, what you need to do, because there will be sisters, there were plenty of them like, what you waiting on? What you doing? You need to get married. You need to there's a brother, there's plenty of brothers that just accept it right now. Go ahead. If you want a brother, just no, you know what your standards are. And if you don't know, then you're not ready to be married. You need to write it down. You need to pray to Allah for a good man. You need to, what does that look like? Define that. Are you worthy of a good man? Are you being a good woman? So I would just say do the work and prepare yourself to be a wife. Prepare what you attract, what you are. So strive to be the things that you want in a mate. And I would say pray for a good mate. Pray in preparation that you will be a good mate. And write down the qualities that you want in a man and be realistic with yourself. And just write what you want in a mate. Be realistic about what you want. And don't be afraid to court, like, not to be cliche and say court hard, but court hard. Just because I didn't give him a pass because my family knew his family, I still didn't know him. I didn't know what his wants and desires were. I didn't know what, how we would mesh together. So that's why being in different circumstances together, like going to a concert, I thought that was a great first date because Keem's so serious. I thought he was so serious. Like I always saw him like at the mosque working, soldier mode. I'm like, okay, he's a robot. Like he's a robot. So when he was like, we going to a concert, I told Naima, I was like, I hope he's not spooky because I'm be dancing. I hope he, I don't know.
Okay, well, keep it control, Mimi. My God.
I hope he doesn't ruin his experience. I hope he's not sitting there like, oh, like rigid or whatever. And it just shows that I didn't know him. Keem likes to have a good time too. Like he's fun. I did not know him. So, being in certain different situations with him, knowing that he likes to, have a good time, play games, skate. He likes to do all the fun things that I like to do. He likes to do as well. And he has his own interests that I'm not necessarily into, and I have my own that he's not necessarily into, but we can have a good time together. So just knowing, be real with yourself with what you will accept and what you are willing to give. Don't marry somebody who wants a woman who's going to stay at home and have children and raise children if that's not what you want to do. Don't marry somebody if you know that he needs your help financially and he tells you we need for the first few years we're gonna work, we're gonna be a 2-income household, whatever. I've seen that happen. And then to get married, something with a minister said or try to flip the script like they don't want to work. So have those conversations, be very blunt and honest and direct with what you want, what you expect, what you tolerate, and ask that person, whoever it is that you're courting, to do the same. There's nothing wrong with saying, may Allah bless you. We're not compatible, but may Allah bless you moving forward to find the person that is. Don't feel pressure that just because you courted somebody that you have to, be with that person.
Absolutely. Brother Akeem, what advice would you give to future husbands? Put me on.
So, kind of starting where she just left off, kind of knowing what you want in a woman and knowing what you can or will not tolerate from a woman. I think that's important because it's those things that you can't tolerate that will probably make you unhappy in your marriage. You know what I mean? And so I think that if you already know what it is that you can deal with, things that you can't deal with, and you know how to approach the person who you want to be with, you know that that person won't take you there. You know what I mean? And so I think that for me, and just giving any advice to any man who is single and looking to be married, um, it's cliche, but have your stuff in order. You know what I mean? Have your stuff in order. My mother used to tell me when I was younger, talking about trying to have a girlfriend. What can you do for a girl? What can you do for you talking about a girlfriend? What can you do for a girl? And in this whole age of independence and all that stuff, that may not be where you find yourself, but you have to think like that. If you're a Muslim man, and that's our culture, where we're set up to provide, protect, respect the Black woman. I mean, so I know I had to make sure that I had all of my stuff in order, and that, I mean, that's mental, physical, spiritual. That's financial. Financial is a big piece. I heard so many FOI talk about you can't be a man without money, and you say, I mean, I could be a man with, like, you really can't. If you can't provide for yourself, if you're always looking to somebody else, like, handout or whatever, probably aren't ready. No, you're definitely not ready. You got to be able to. You got to be able to make things happen, and not just the set up stuff. Because marriage, that there's gonna be some pop up things in there. It's like, oh, we need money for this. Oh, we need money for. You got to be able to make it happen. I'm not saying you got to be rich, but you got to have that mindset, and you got to be able to go out and get it. You know what I mean? You don't have to have an exorbitant amount of money, because I didn't, but I always had a good work ethic and always kept a job. You know what I mean? So as long as you're willing to get up and go to work every day for your family, I think that's so important. You can't be lazy. You can't be lazy. So many different things I could touch on, but I think those are the two things that come to mind.
Okay, actually, those are some major points. Thank you all. Aisha says you guys are wonderful. I love the show. Joshua Key was great. Thank you very much, Aisha. David Muhammad says, sister, that's real on helping your husband realistically. If that brother needs help for time, you would need someone that understands of helping your husband. Naima says, amen. I want to thank everyone for watching. This will be on YouTube on Off the Record. Y'all can just type it Josh Muhammad Off the Record. And thank you, and
Thank
Mimi.
you so much. Definitely humbled, bro.
For everyone who's watching, I'm going to break my fast, so I'm going to go eat. So we're gonna go.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Watch this game.
Okay, yeah.
Night of Power.
I'm watch the game too, but I gotta eat first. All right, somebody come on.
Thanks a lot.